Good afternoon and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachus. This is a personal response to WildHeartResurrected3. I just was on his stream. I was getting my camera and my mic ready and then he decided he's going to go to bed. So it's like, oh great, I missed that one. But I thought I would touch on a few subjects. I noticed he was heavily drinking and some of the backroom chat was concerned with the level of drinking going on in his life. And I thought, I am a perfect person to speak on this topic because those of you who know me well know I was a serious alcoholic and a drug addict, like a really bad one for a number of years. Before I came to Christ, that was, and then through the power of Christ, I was given the courage and the strength to quit all that stuff. But I look back on it fondly. It's not like I look back and think, I drinking and drugs was terrible. I enjoyed the experience of being off my face on different drugs and being drunk, and I used to do it every single day. And the people I did it with, I was really tight friends with. We felt like family at the time. Turned out we weren't. I barely see them these days, and they kind of look down on me now because I left all that behind. But I wanted to speak on the subject of the psychology behind drinking and drug abuse, right? So now, this is the only thing you will catch me drinking these days. Buffalo Trace posh whiskey, and I don't drink a lot of it. As you can see, there's maybe half the bottle missing, and I've had this since Christmas, so that has taken me since Christmas, including Christmas Day, to drink that much. And it will probably stay like that until, I don't know, well, I don't want to speculate, but maybe my birthday, September, October kind of time. But I understand why people hit the bottle, especially when they are in dire straits, when they've got difficult problems, specifically isolation and anxiety. These are the two main things that make people feel like drinking is the answer, because obviously whatever problems that you get with drinking, the two problems that you're going to lose is anxiety. When you're drunk, you're not going to get anxiety at all. It goes. So if your main worry in your life is anxious, anxiety, stress, then you can drink it away. And with isolation, if you're the kind of person who sits on their own, worrying about life, and that makes you anxious, it feeds back into the anxiety, being isolated, being lonely, then your friend is in this bottle. Or so you might think. And it does work for that. Even though it comes along with a host of other worse problems, and you actually become dependent on it because you're not this is what I'm getting at. When you drink to get rid of anxiety, depression, isolation, loneliness, heart pain that you will feel from not being in touch with your close friends or family enough, having a worry mindset. This is not solving them, but it is pushing them to one side. But what happens when you push something to one side? It will get worse. And that's where dependency comes in. When you're pushing a problem to one side and it's getting worse, when you start sobering up and it starts coming back to you, it's terrified because you think, it was bad enough before. Now I can see it reapproaching, and it is like 100 times worse. So it's like, drink, get rid of it, right? So you constantly get away, pushing the problem away. Push problem away, and then I don't have to deal with it. And then you end up only hanging around with people who understand that mindset and who do that. So that means now you are in a social circle of people who just drink and do drugs. And I'll tell you, some of the drugs that I did, I was a heavy weed smoker. I used to smoke an ounce every week of high-grade posh weed. At one stage I was growing it. I had trees going on in a tent, tons and tons of stuff coming out, and I was smoking most of it. So I didn't make any money. But the other thing I used to do is snort coke, and then I got to the stage where you crush coke up and you do this little chemical process where you boil it and it becomes like a little rock and it becomes crack. You put it in a pipe, smoke it, and then you get maybe a minute of a high or something like that. Then you do another one and it's hundreds of pounds. But these were things I did to make myself feel better. Not like now, where I just wake up and the entire day I feel better and I recognise good and bad and I can tolerate and deal with those things. When I was doing drugs and alcohol, I was doing it to get away from myself. I wanted to escape loneliness, I wanted to escape anxiety, and I wanted to be able to just have bullshit conversations. Excusez my français, that's what they were, not deep conversations. It was like we spoke about deep topics, pretending that we were being really sort of intelligent. but the level of those conversations was a very shallow, surface level. It was more like talking about cartoons or music or something, with the veneer of intelligence put over the top of it. And that's a thing that drugs and alcohol are going to lead to, because you will dehydrate your brain, your memory goes out the window, you start to babble and forget where you are in a sentence, and that limits the possibilities of that conversation, finding a intelligent result. But you can still say that you're having a conversation about God or psychology or the world or morality or something like that. You can still make the claim, is what I'm saying. So in your head, that's your interest. You're interested in psychology, morality, faith, human life, suffering and pain, and all these important things. It makes you feel connected with the people you're talking to. And it means something to you when you're in that scenario, because you feel like it's a study on your life. You're the tragic, misunderstood character. And that's why you do this. So my point is this: don't judge people too heavily for drinking and doing drugs. Now, I'm not saying it's good. Obviously I'm not, because I left all that behind. I don't drink or do any drugs. I don't even smoke. The only vice that I retain is my vape. This thing. I don't need this. I could easily leave this behind as well, but I mean, it's, I like the blueberry flavour. So that's what I do. I have a vape. But I can always look back and see other people when they're drinking and doing drugs and enjoying inebriation. And I can see it a slightly different way to most people probably do, because I understand they're not doing it to be bad people. They're not doing it to rebel against, it's not like when you're a teenager and you're rebelling against your parents by getting really drunk when you're not old enough. It isn't that. No one cares. Nobody gives a damn when you're drinking and doing drugs in a little scabby corner of a flat somewhere, or, hidden away from society, lying. You don't tell people you're doing it. When that's going on, your parents don't care. They don't even know. No one cares. So you're not doing it as a rebellion. You're doing it as a tincture. It's like medicating yourself to get away from anxiety, stress, isolation, depression, all these things. But unlike medication, it isn't going to treat the cause. It's only going to cover up the symptoms. It's like, I've got no hair. My hair fell out. I'm a bald guy. I can put this hat on and it gets rid of the symptoms. Now you can't see that I'm a bald guy, but it ain't going to make my hair grow back wearing a hat. That's the thing that people need to remember with drugs and alcohol. Don't judge people too heavily. Just because it isn't going to cure them, if it's a means to an end now in the moment, it's stopping them from feeling worse now, then they have at least identified that something is a problem. Even though they're not directly dealing with it, they have identified isolation, depression, anxiety, sadness, trauma from childhood, or whatever it is. They've identified, I have a problem here, this is my problem. I'm covering it up with this at the moment, but I'm covering it. So that means I'm aware of it at some level. I know it's there. So it's the first stage to recovery, to say, I have a problem. I'm dealing with it in an incorrect way by covering it with drugs and alcohol, but I have recognized it is there. So I am slowly turning to face that problem, and that means eventually I'll solve it. So, I don't need to be wearing a hat. So the conclusion is this. Many people in the world suffer these problems: anxiety, depression, trauma from childhood, isolation, loneliness, distance from friends and family, a loss of hope, a loss of ambition, a loss of ideation. When they look forward to the future, they see nothing good and it scares them and they think, I feel better this way. Don't judge them too heavily. Don't feel like people are hopeless because they drink and do drugs. I am the living proof that someone who is the worst drinker and drug addict, who everyone, even his own family, will give up on, who looks hopeless and will probably die, that person can turn into a completely 100% sober, good Christian who is devoted to the Christian lifestyle, who has completely turned his back on all that stuff. I am living proof that that can happen. So, when we're thinking about people who are hitting the bottle too hard, doing drugs, having the abusive, chemical or alcoholic abuse lifestyle, first thing first, these people are not hopeless. These people are not a lost cause. They are actually Most of the time, these are good, intelligent people, and the reason why they are so, emotionally connected to these problems, these anxiety and isolation problems, is because they're not stupid. It's because they're actually, even under alcohol and drugs, their mind is ticking over. It's an intelligent mind that they have, and they are caring people. That's what drives the need to go to alcohol, is pain. They understand the world's pain and they relate to it with their own pain, and that needs to be mediated at the moment by this, but hopefully in future with brothership, friendship, and a plan to progress and beat these problems. So don't judge people too heavily, don't think they're hopeless. Each one of these people you see who drinks heavily, does drugs, these are the people which God will use in future. I am living proof of that. Nobody ever thought I was going to be a Christian preacher type who'd never drank and never did alcohol and was completely concerned with the charity of orphans, widows and the needy. Nobody ever thought that was going to be me. I never thought it was going to be me. But here I am. Praise be to God. So that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed my, violins out life story. I have no regrets. None at all. Every single minute of pain that I suffered or that I caused on other people, although I am not proud of it, I am not ashamed of it. And that's what I want you to take away from this. People who are addicted to drink and drugs, do not let people make you feel guilty. Do not take shame. It is not for you. You have regular human problems. You are dealing with it in a regular way that humans do. And in time, when you surround yourself with the right people, when you are ready to take that step out of the lake of alcohol and trudge off towards sobriety, you will be able to do that and you will go on to have great lives. And there's no rush either. Don't feel like I'm making this video to say you need to do it now, give up alcohol now. I would like that if you could, but let's be realistic. You have to get hold of your problems first and have the courage to actually face it, and then start thinking, right, this is getting in the way of me solving that problem. What means more to me, solving the problem or allowing myself to hide from the problem? You decide, and there's no guilt or shame attached if you don't immediately decide the right thing now. I have hope that you will in future. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. No, I'm not. This is going to go back in the cupboard now. Dear Lord, in your grace and love, please allow my brothers to feel that they are worth something and that these problems are just a temporary interlope, and that they will find healing and contentment in their lives and go on to do great things. Amen. God bless you all. See you next time.